Do you own a catering business, a barbecue joint, or simply love to cook a ton of barbecue? Well, this is a video that you don't want to miss. This is my brand new Lonestar Grillz insulated cabinet smoker, and I can't wait to show it to you. Stay tuned. Alright guys and gals, this is my brand new Lonestar Grillz insulated cabinet smoker. A lot of people call them insulated vertical smokers, same thing, but let me show you guys the inside. So as you can see, the inside of my smoker does have 4 racks. Now you do have the option to order the exact same smoker, but with 7 racks on the inside. So with these 4 racks, you do get 2,600 square inches of cooking space. If you add the extra 3 shelves for a total of 7, you're gonna have 4,550 square inches of cooking space. So let's talk capacity on the smoker. You can fit 16 briskets, 30 racks of ribs, 24 pork butts, or 24 whole chickens. That's utilizing all of the cooking space available. Now let me show you guys the charcoal basket. Just slide it out. So this charcoal basket does hold 40 pounds of charcoal, and you can also put chunks of wood in there. Now it's not recommended that you use splits of wood because that might over smoke your food. So if you notice, I laid out my plates to make this maze right here. So you would fill up your entire basket with charcoal, get a basket, light some of the charcoal up, and drop it in one of these corners right here, and it's gonna snake all the way around this maze, giving you an amazing 35 hours of cook time. So let me slide this basket back in. Now the other thing that I want to show you is that this basket has a built-in ash pan right here. I love that they placed this ash pan right under that charcoal basket. I can slide it out, clean it, plus it keeps the inside of the smoker nice and clean. Now if you notice, the cooking chamber and the charcoal chamber do have these really high temperature gaskets, high quality. If you ever have to replace them, pretty simple, just pop it off, put some new clips on there, and put that gasket back on. One thing I really love is these slam latches. So this cabinet smoker also has a built-in water pan. Let me show you guys that. So right below this bottom rack, in fact, let me pull it out so you guys can see it better. So here's the built-in water pan, and if you notice right there, it's got a built-in drain, but that drain also serves as a fill port. So at the top of the smoker, you do have your exhaust stack right there, but see that square port right there? That's where you fill it up with water. The water comes in on the side of the smoker. Inside, it's all built in, goes into the bottom, and fills up your water pan. Now if you notice, I did order my smoker with the competition cart and the off-road package that comes with these really nice big wheels. Now the base model does come with 5-inch casters. You can upgrade to 8-inch casters or get this beautiful off-road package. So I didn't want to forget to mention that the reason they call this an insulated cabinet smoker is obviously it's a cabinet, right? But you have insulation, really thick insulation on the sides, the top, the back, and the bottom of the smoker. Oh, and by the way, the insulation that Lonestar uses is rated at 2,000 degrees. So the outside of my smoker is a little dusty. The inside's got some of that machining dust. Remember, these are hand welded, hand built right here in Texas, and we got to wash all of this off. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got my insulated cabinet smoker all washed up, looking nice and shiny, nice shiny wheels. Now it's time to season it up. Now I did take out the charcoal basket. I am going to spray the inside of that area as well as the cooking chamber, the inside of the doors, the entire thing with some canola spray. So you can use any spray oil to season the inside of your smoker. I just like to use canola oil because of its higher smoke point. All right, here we go. Make sure you get every square inch of this cooking chamber. All right, so I've got the inside of my cooking chamber completely sprayed with canola oil. I've got the doors, the grates. I even have the charcoal basket completely sprayed. So some of you guys might be wondering why we season the inside of our smokers. The number one reason is to prevent rust. So let me explain that a little bit further, because you guys might be wondering, well, where's the rust going to come from? So for example, a brisket is 75% water. When you're smoking it, that brisket is releasing the water, falling all over the inside of the cooking chamber, and that will create rust. Now, Lonestar Grillz does recommend that you season the inside of your smoker for a minimum of 3 hours. Yes, you can go more. I'm going to go about 3 or 4 hours. So the other thing that Lonestar recommends is that when you add your charcoal, stack it up really high, all the way up to the edge like this, versus having a thin layer of charcoal. So I did leave an empty space here for my lit charcoal. Let me go grab that. So I've got about 15 lit briquettes. I'm going to drop it right here. So the theory here is that this lit charcoal is slowly going to ignite all of these briquettes. That's also known as the snake method. So I'm going to slide my basket in. Shut the bottom door. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier or not, but these latches are lockable. All right, I'm closing our cooking chamber door as well. So on the left side of the smoker, you do have 3 different ports. I'm going to close this one. This is the drain. Now this is the intake, and that's an intake, but I'm only going to be using one of these intakes. I'm going to close this down to about 1/3, right about there. Now this port that is capped off is also an intake, but again, it's capped off. We should get sufficient airflow with this valve right here. So I do have my exhaust port all the way open, as you can see right there. I'm looking to season the smoker at 250 degrees. Once the gauge hits 200 degrees, I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so I wanted to bring you guys back for a quick minute. The temperature in the smoker was going up really slow, so all I did was open up the intake 100% of the way open. That should slowly increase the temperature. So at this point, once the smoker hits 200 degrees, I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so our smoker hit 200 degrees, and that total time was about 15 minutes after I opened up the intake 100%. So at this point, we just need to adjust our intake. That way we don't overshoot our target temp of 250 degrees. All right, so I'm just going to close the intake and have it about 1/3 of the way open. Right about there. I'm also going to choke down the exhaust a little bit. Let's go with about halfway open. All right, so at this point, I'm just going to wait for the smoker to hit 250 degrees. Now, if the temperature does overshoot a little bit, I'm going to close the intake down just a little bit more and maybe shut down that exhaust a little bit more as well. So I've never smoked on this smoker before, so I'm going to take this time to really get to know this smoker. For example, what happens if I open up the intake a little bit more? What happens if I shut the exhaust a little bit more, etc. I'm going to learn how to operate this smoker, and before you know it, I'll be a pro. So I'll bring you guys back in 3 hours once this smoker is nice and seasoned. Stay tuned. All right, so it's been about 4 hours since our temperature locked in at 250 degrees. Now let me show you guys how I have the smoker set up. All right, so this is my intake, and that's the setting right there. It is just barely cracked open, probably 1/10 of the way open. Now, as far as the exhaust, I've got it about halfway open, as you can see right there. So hopefully you guys can make that out, but that temp gauge is just a little bit over 250 degrees. And again, it's been rocking 250 degrees for 4 hours. Now, let's see how much charcoal we've burnt. All right, so I gotta tell you, that is very impressive. We've only actually used about 30% of the charcoal. As you can see, it's just starting to turn that corner into that new charcoal, and it's igniting because I've got it open right now. So let me slide this back in. All right, let's go ahead and close that door. So now let's see what the inside of the cooking chamber looks like. All right, so as you can see, the walls are nice and shiny, almost like a well-seasoned cast iron pan, and even our racks have a nice bronze color. All right, so my overall thoughts on this Lonestar Grillz insulated vertical smoker is that it is a well-oiled, precision-tuned smoker. As I mentioned earlier, if you own a catering company, a barbecue joint, or cook a lot of barbecue, you have got to check these out. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys would like to see me cook on this smoker first, and please do not say brisket. If you guys are interested in this smoker or any smoker that Lonestar Grillz has to offer, check them out at the link below and thank them for sponsoring today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If this is your first time to my channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Until next time, Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit BBQ. See ya.